Alright folks, well, welcome back to Once Driven Forever Smitten. Gold Astra. I drove it up the road, we discovered that it's got a water leak from the matrix, so the dash needs to come out. The automatic gear selector's not working either, so it won't take gear. I stripped all that apart, cleaned it all out. It hasn't helped or anything like that, so I mean, you can drive about in it if you change gear manually, but nah, I've had enough of it. It's time to start stripping down the Ecotec and get this thing, this project rolling. Now of course, my plan was to go and take the Omega off the road, do a few jobs on that and use the Gold Astra. Well, basically swap places, because cars all have to, you know, they've all got their set spot. But can't do that, so I'm going to keep using the Omega for the moment. I haven't been driving it that much lately. Need to sort out the wheels for it. I need wheels that aren't buckled. But apart from that, oh, it's so nice to drive, especially when you're jumping between it and the Astra, which is worn out. The Omega's only done 33,000 miles. Love it. Now, we had the flashing S light on the dash for the automatic transmission, which means that this thing here, the auto gear selector, is in the wrong position. So I tried to dismantle it to get it apart. The end of it sheared off. Oh, it was just a nightmare. I had to basically smash the thing open, it was so corroded. I cleaned it all out inside, didn't work. It's still not particularly happy. You have to change gear manually, so it will move at the moment, but I'm definitely not going to bother driving it on the road in case it ends up stranding me somewhere. Yeah, the annoying thing was with that gear selector switch, if it doesn't get the correct position, it won't let you start the car. We have adjusted it so it should start. Well, that's good, it does, but that light's going to be flashing there. Out of hell with it. You are coming out. Yeah, I'm not even moving it much because, no, reverse, we've got reverse. That drive, that sort of drive. Oh, that's first. Oh, okay. Okay. Didn't think it was going to take drive actually. There you go. Of course, you might know I went and put 50 quid of bloody super unleaded in it. Anyway, that'll be a bonus when I start it up, I suppose. 2, 3, drive, neutralis. Yep, oh well, sort of work. So here we've got a beautiful X20 XEV 2 litre 16 valve Ecotec from a Cavalier CDX that were removed to the scrappies back in May. It's got 105,000 miles on it, I think, and it was driven into the scrapyard. The car was off the road because of rust, so we're just now going to strip it down because we're going to put a head gasket on it, new timing belt and all that kind of stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the alternator and the inlet manifold to begin with, and then we'll go and take the exhaust manifold off it. These are pretty straightforward. Well, a bit more complicated than the XE, but not a huge amount. It's EGR on it, which the XE obviously didn't have. A bit of plastic trim off the loom, I'll chuck that in the car. Right. Stevie's removing the bottom pulley, which is on 4 of those Torx bolts as opposed to 6 on the XE. Alternators 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 bolts, I think, 15 more bolts, I think. And we've got a nice box here to go and put everything in a decent order. Maybe I want to take some of those compartments out it. There we go. Off, nice and easy. That was a lot more difficult on the XE and the CD. I suppose you can take that timing belt cover off now as well, which is what, 1, 2, 3 or 4 bolts. Looks like it's had a bit of repair work done on that bit. Well, I see what nick the timing belts in. This will tell us a story perhaps. Yeah, that timing belt looks a bit new.
It does, aye.
Class. Right, what I'm looking for is spanners. No, actually, I need to take that bolt out of there. No, I don't. That's just part of the alternate bracket. Unnecessary disconnections. I'll just stay on there. Top one there as well. Right, and that's our alternator unbolted. I've got two connections on the other side. We've got a 13 and a 10, I think. Take the bolts and the washer off and just put the bolts and the washer back on the alternator, so what I'm missing. Now we've got the timing belt cover off. Pleased to say it's had a belt fairly recently, like. Looks quite fresh under there. I don't think this car was in bad condition mechanically. It was driven into the scrapyard because it was very rusty. To remove the inlet manifold, I'm just putting the throttle cable bracket off it to access one of the bolts. Good thing about this setup is it's got the hole there for the cruise control cable. The XE and the LET come with that as well. Even though neither of those were ever supplied with cruise control, even as an option. So they must have thought about it. Right, there's the throttle cable bracket out the way. For now, probably just leave it connected on there, and I'm just going to screw the bolts back in from where they came. Come on. Tighten in, come on. There we go. Inlet manifold's got 8 bolts in it, they're pretty easy to get to. There's one on each end and then like 6 through the middle, all 13 mils. And the cam cover there is just a set of T30 Torx bits, I think, that go right along the top there. We'll lift that off, and it won't be that long before we can strip the head off it, but the exhaust manifold to go. Cam cover ready to lift off. What have we got under there? Some camshafts, surprisingly enough. It doesn't look too bad. Some of these are really bad for like gunking up and things, and that engine looks relatively clean, I must say. Not bad at all. Now, as we can see, because it's been sitting out in the scrapyard and everything, we've got a nice mix of oil and water in the spark plug holes. I think what we'll do is we'll maybe have to try and get that out of there before we crack the plugs on it, maybe. Or it's not, it's just going to...
Did you know if we just turn it upside down?
Did it come with it? Aye, we'll just leave the plugs in it, aye, we'll just do that, aye. But your cylinder head bolts are hidden underneath the camshafts. You should really slacken the camshafts in a certain order, which is in the Haynes manual. I can't mind, but you don't just go from one end to the other, you let go from bits, because it puts pressure on the cam, and in theory it can snap them. That's right, and this inlet manifold should now lift clear. It's probably connected with a few pipes made out. And I've got a breather there, and we've got a breather there. What else have we got? We've got a water hose going to the back of the manifold there, and we've got a water hose there. Okay, that's alright. There's my blue pliers. What's that? Oh, it's a fuel line. Right. So we've got a pipe going to the water block at the back there. Off you come, and that's that off, and then there should be nearly, it's just to connect the knock sensor at the back. And that is our inlet manifold released from the back of the engine. Exhaust manifold bolts look pretty rusty, so we'll just soak them for all the difference it will make. Dipstick in that breather box. I guess you could just put a normal hose right into that, I guess. Okay, I'm in temporary. I'll not be able to get the 4 branch now, but I could just get that blanked. Because I could get my brother-in-law Neil to go and do some alloy welding on it. I'll just get that chopped at the end and maybe get a blanking plate put on it. Definitely. So I don't know if that's they don't look like they're likely to come out.
Well, we can take the downpipe off it if we need to.
Well, it looks super rotten. Here we have the EGR pipe, which we're getting rid of, and that was really badly mangled, so smashed it flat and eventually got another one over the top of it. Nice! But that's that out the road anyway. We don't need any of this, it's optional. Right, so I've removed the front camshaft, the exhaust cam, to gain access to the head bolts. There's a row of them along the front. You don't need to do it with the inlet cam at the back. I've just put the cam to one side there, kept the cam caps together because you want to keep them in the order that they came off, they're numbered. I'm going to crack these with, what size is this? A T55 tops, I think. Most of Pete's Nova, I'm just kind of done it. Right, that is the cylinder head ready to come off. So we need to lift this clear. What away?
Water pipe.
We've got a water pipe cut. Right. There we go. One cylinder head. Free! Well, take it outside, man. Take it outside. Watch it. He don't know. What's it telling us under here? Well, no, I've got nothing to worry about really. We've got clean looking pistons there. The bores look clean, tops of the pistons look alright. Head gasket. It's got a head gasket, I'm going to tell you. That just needs cleaned off now. Head gasket to go back on it again. Happy days. So I'm going to leave it here for the moment. That's it. Ecotec engine stripped down. Looks pretty clean, so it's not a high mileage engine, it's not a hard life. We're going to blank off the EGR ports in this cast manifold. I would like to get a 4 brancher for it in the future, but they're about 260 quid I think, so I won't be getting one of them right now, I'll have to wait. We've got the alternator, other bits and pieces. I've boxed them all up, inlet manifolds there, heads there, so next time out I'm going to get the clutch fitted, get the head back on it, get the timing belt and everything on it, and that will basically be ready and waiting to go into the car. Okay Astra, you've driven your last mile as a stinking 1.6 automatic. Next time you leave this garage, you've got a 2 litre manual. Of course, the engine's building that up's easy, but we've got a more complicated task in our hands because we've got this whole pedal box to go and fit. So we've got a clutch pedal and of course we've got the gear lever to fit. Good thing is it all just bolts into place. It's all quite logical, and of course sitting here, that's our 5-stud conversion there as well. Gonna go for the big brakes off the Vectra. I've got front and rear hubs for it as well. So we're making a good dent in this next time out. gave you a start, didn't it? Excuse me. You're not supposed to be in here. What do you smell? Somebody pushed the seat at some point. Would you care to, you know, get out, maybe? No?